Why is it that the stupid little things people say or do can still crawl under your skin? You tell yourself it's not worth it, and yet your chest tightens, your jaw clenches, and there it is again. Anger. I'm not talking about betrayal or life-shattering events. I'm talking about the small things, the careless tone, the dismissive shrug, the offhand comment that somehow ruins your morning. You didn't ask for this fight, but suddenly your peace has gone stolen by someone who probably doesn't even realize what they've done. But let's set something straight. Their foolishness is not your responsibility, and yet the moment you react, they own you, not because they're powerful, but because you handed over your power. That stops now. You're here because you want to stop getting angry at things that don't deserve your energy. You want control not over the world, but over your response to it. That's real strength. That's clarity. That's freedom. The ancient Stoics believed this deeply. No one can truly hurt you unless you give them permission. And today we're bringing that timeless mindset into your modern life. In this video, you'll learn how to keep your mind calm even when the world acts foolishly. You'll discover how to respond like a man in command, not a man dragged around by every little trigger. You're not alone in this fight. Every strong person wrestles with the same struggle. But if you're tired of losing your peace to nonsense, this is your moment. So before we dive deeper, do me a favor, hit the like button, subscribe to Stoicism Breath, and share this video with someone who needs to reclaim their calm. Now let's begin with step 1. Recognize the pattern before it controls you. Here's the truth: you don't explode because of one dumb comment. You explode because it's the 50th dumb comment stacked on top of all the frustrations you never dealt with. That's the trap. You think you're reacting to this moment, but in reality, you've been carrying invisible weight all week. Silent frustrations at work, disrespect at home, the flight delay, the careless remark. You brush them off again and again until one more tiny push shatters the dam. And here's what you need to know: anger isn't random, it's rehearsed. You've been practicing it day after day by letting little things slide without resolving them. When you finally snap, it's not strength, it's overflow. You weren't in control, you were leaking. And every outburst at something unworthy just reinforces that destructive cycle: frustration, silence, pressure, explosion, guilt. And unless you step in, that loop will keep spinning forever. Think of your mind like a dam. Ignore the small leaks and the pressure builds beneath the surface. You don't see the cracks, but they're there. Then one day, something as light as a feather touches the wall and it bursts. It wasn't the feather that caused the flood. It was the weakness you never fixed. So how do you stop getting angry at stupid things? Start here. Identify your triggers before they own you. Track your patterns like a strategist. When do you lose patience most often? Is it in traffic? During meetings, on chaotic mornings with the kids? Or maybe it's that one specific tone your partner uses. Write it down. Don't trust yourself to remember. You won't. Self-awareness isn't passive, it's tactical. It's the difference between a man who reacts and a man who leads. And the truth is, this anger is not who you are. It's just a pattern you've let repeat. And the moment you choose to see it that way, you've taken the first step toward breaking free. Why do the small, stupid things still get under your skin? You tell yourself it's not worth it yet. Your chest tightens, your jaw locks, and there it is again: anger. Not from a massive betrayal, but from tiny cuts. The careless tone, the dismissive shrug, the throwaway comment that hijacks your morning. You didn't ask for this fight, but your peace has gone stolen by someone who probably doesn't even realize it. Let's be clear, their foolishness is not your responsibility. The moment you react without thinking, you hand them your power. That ends now. You're here because you want control not over the world, but over your response to it. That is strength. That is clarity. That is freedom. The Stoics taught that no one can truly harm you unless you grant them permission. Today we translate that into daily practice so you can stay calm even when the world acts foolishly, and respond like a person in command, not a puppet pulled by every trigger. You're not alone. Every strong person fights this battle. If you're done losing to nonsense, this is your turning point. Step 1. Recognize the pattern before it controls you. You don't explode because of one dumb comment. You explode because it's the 50th. The trap is thinking you're reacting to this moment when in reality you've been carrying invisible weight all week. Silent frustrations at work, small disrespect at home, a delay, a careless remark. You let it go until one more feather breaks the dam. Anger isn't random, it's rehearsed. Each time you let small irritations pile up without resolving them, you're practicing the outburst that comes later. What looks like strength is actually overflow. The loop repeats frustration, silence, pressure, outburst, guilt, until you name it, track it, and break it. Picture your mind like a dam. Small leaks don't seem urgent, but pressure builds under the surface. Then one day a feather touches the wall and everything bursts. It wasn't the feather, it was the fault line you ignored. How to break the loop, practical, tactical. Track your triggers like a strategist. Where do you lose patience? Most traffic meetings mornings with the kids, certain tones or phrases. Write it down daily for a week. Patterns beat guesswork. Spot the early cues, shoulders rising. Breath getting shallow, jaw clenching. These are the yellow lights before the red. Install a micro reset. 2 slow nasal breaths. In long exhale out, make the exhale longer than the inhale. It downshifts your body and buys you the space to choose. Close the small leaks. Address tiny frictions, quickly clarify expectations. Renegotiate a deadline, ask for what you need. Small repairs prevent big floods. You are not a short-tempered person. That's not identity, that's a pattern. And patterns change when leaders track, adjust, and repeat. This is Stoicism Breath. Expect foolishness. Prepare for it. Recognize it. And when it shows up, don't flinch. You're in charge. Not your emotions, not their nonsense. Solid, grounded, unshaken. Don't assume you'll just remember your triggers, you won't. Self-awareness isn't passive, it's tactical. It's the line between a man who reacts and a man who leads. But here's the trap many fall into. I'm just short-tempered, that's who I am. They wear it like it's carved in stone. But anger is not your identity. It's not who you are. It's simply a pattern you've allowed to repeat. The Stoics had a brutal word for this slavery. Not to another person, but to your own impulses. A man who can't hold his tongue when provoked is not strong, he's ruled. And that's not power. That's weakness wrapped in noise. So flip the script. Stop trying to control the outside world and start observing what's happening inside you. Watch for the moment your body shifts, shoulders, tightening breath, quickening jaw, clenching. That's your cue. That's your chance. Breathe. Step back. Don't let the trigger pull you. You're not a puppet. You're a builder. And every single time you interrupt that old pattern, even once you lay the first brick of emotional control, you want to stop getting angry at stupid things, then stop letting stupidity surprise you. Expect it. Prepare for it. Recognize it when it comes, and when it does, don't flinch. Smile. Because now you're in charge. Not your emotions. Not their nonsense. Just you, solid, grounded, unshaken. Step 2. Understand what you're really angry at. Here's the hard truth. It's not the spilled coffee. It's not the slow driver. It's not even the tone your coworker used. What ignites your anger isn't what's in front of you, it's what's already inside you. Most of us don't realize this because we're wired to react, not to reflect. But when you explode over something small, it's not about that thing, it's about what it represents. Disrespect, loss of control, pressure you've buried, expectations left unmet. That's the real battle. That's the storm under the surface. Anger is rarely honest. Rarely. It shows up wearing the wrong name tag, pointing fingers at whoever's nearby. But if you peel it back, you'll often find something else: shame dressed as rage or fear disguised as frustration. Think about it. You don't really yell at the broken remote. You yell because your day's been spiraling, because your patience is on its last thread. You don't truly snap at your wife because she forgot something at the store. You snap because work is draining you and no one seems to see how much weight you're carrying. The Stoics understood this deeply. Emotions are not your enemies, but they will lie to you if you don't examine them. That's why the practice is simple but powerful. Pause and ask, what am I really angry at right now? Is it just this moment, or is it everything piling up behind it? Most men confuse anger with strength. They think a raised voice equals power, but it doesn't. Real power is naming the truth beneath the noise. Real power is choosing clarity over chaos. Here's the hard truth. Most of the time, what you call stupidity in others is actually frustration in yourself. The Stoics warned us if you don't master your emotions, they will master you. And worse, they won't even be honest about it. You'll walk through life barking at the world thinking you're strong when in reality you're just triggered. Think about it like pressure building in a boiler. If you don't release it, even the tiniest tap will make it blow. That's exactly what happens in daily life. You bottle things up, the subtle disrespect from your boss, the quiet feeling that you're failing as a provider, the endless grind of always having to be the strong one. And then something small, a comment, a delay, a careless look lights the fuse. You explode. Later you feel stupid, but it wasn't stupid, it was predictable, because you never dealt with the fuel beneath the surface. The solution: stop blaming the spark, fix the fuel. That means journaling what's actually bothering you, not hiding behind sarcasm or anger. That means checking in with your stress levels before they control you. And above all, that means choosing clarity over reaction. Feeling overwhelmed doesn't make you weak. What makes you weak is letting those feelings dictate your actions without question. Be the kind of man who investigates his own mind, not the kind who lashes out blindly. The next time you feel that fire rising, don't suppress it, trace it. Ask, what is this really trying to tell me? Because when you name the true trigger, you take back control. That's when anger stops being a prison and becomes a message. Don't just feel it, decode it, then move forward on your terms. Step 3. Stop taking things personally. Here's a fact. 80% of the things that hurt you were never even about you. That blunt email from your boss. He's drowning in deadlines, the silent treatment from your wife. She's processing her own struggles. The driver who cut you off, he didn't even see you. Most of the slights you carry are echoes of your own expectations, and when you make everything about you, you hand away your peace for free. That's not strength, that's emotional slavery. It's like walking around with open wounds and blaming the world for brushing past you. But a man who truly masters himself doesn't need every gesture to be gentle. He doesn't crumble when someone forgets to say good morning. He doesn't rage when someone raises their voice. He knows who he is, and that's enough. The Stoics had a word for this: strength apatheia. Not cold indifference, but calm self-command. The power to remain unmoved by what you cannot control. Not frozen, but focused. Not detached, but disciplined. Here's where many men fail. They treat every minor slight as a personal attack. Their ego is so fragile it flinches at shadows. One complaint at work and they spiral. One misunderstanding at home and they explode. But your emotions don't need to live at the mercy of every word, every look, every tone. Let them talk. Let them act. You're not here to react. You're here to lead yourself first. Picture a boulder in the middle of a rushing river. The water pounds against it all day long, but the rock doesn't flinch. It doesn't take it personally. That's who you become when you stop interpreting everything through the lens of offense. That's who you become when you realize most people are projecting their pain, not targeting yours. It's not about you. It never was. So apply this the next time someone snaps at you. Pause. Don't respond right away. Breathe. Watch. Ask yourself, does this really have anything to do with me? Most of the time, the answer will be no. And when you learn to see that you don't just save your peace, you build unshakable strength. Don't fool yourself into thinking you'll just remember your triggers. You won't. Self-awareness isn't something passive. It's tactical. It's the difference between being a man who reacts and a man who leads. Here's the trap many guys fall into. I'm just short-tempered, that's who I am. They wear it like a badge, as if it's carved into their DNA. But let's be clear, anger is not your identity. It's not who you are. It's simply a pattern you've repeated so many times that it started to feel permanent. The Stoics had a harsh word for this: slavery. Not slavery to another person, but to your own impulses. A man who can't hold his tongue when provoked isn't strong, he's ruled. And being ruled by your emotions isn't power, it's weakness wrapped in noise. So it's time to flip the script. Stop wasting energy trying to control the outside world and instead start observing what's happening inside you. Notice the small signals. Your shoulders tightening, your breath speeding up, your jaw locking. That's your cue. That's your chance to change the story. Breathe. Step back. Refuse to let the trigger pull you. You are not a puppet. You are a builder. And every single time you interrupt that old pattern, even once you lay the first brick of emotional control. So if you want to stop getting angry at stupid things, stop letting stupidity catch you off guard. Expect it. Prepare for it. Recognize it when it comes, and when it does, don't flinch. Smile, because now you're the one in charge. Not your emotions, not their nonsense, just you solid, grounded, unshaken. Step 2. Understand what you're really angry at. Here's the hard truth. It's not the spilled coffee. It's not the slow driver. It's not even the tone your coworker used. What lights that fire isn't what's in front of you. It's what's already inside you. Most of us don't see this because we're wired to react, not reflect. But every time you explode over something small, it's rarely about that thing. It's about what it represents: disrespect, a loss of control, buried pressure, unmet expectations. That's the real storm under the surface. Anger is rarely honest. It wears the wrong name tag, pointing fingers at whoever happens to be nearby. But if you peel it back, you'll often find something else: shame dressed as rage or fear disguised as frustration. Think about it. You don't really yell at the broken remote, you yell because your day's been spiraling and your patience is gone. You don't truly snap at your wife because she forgot something at the store, you snap because work has been draining you and no one seems to notice how much you're carrying. The Stoics understood this. Emotions are not your enemies, but they will deceive you if you don't examine them. That's why the practice is simple but powerful. Pause and ask, what am I really angry at right now? Is it this moment, or is it everything piling up behind it? Too many men confuse anger with strength. They think raising their voice makes them powerful, but it doesn't. Real power is quieter. Real power is naming the truth beneath the noise. Real power is choosing clarity over chaos. Here's a question worth carrying with you. Will I even remember this moment in 5 days? Will it have changed anything in your life? If the answer is no, then why give it your energy? Walk away, shift your focus, protect your peace. But if it will matter, if it truly impacts your future, then handle it. And when you do, don't meet it with rage, meet it with reason. Your energy is currency. Don't spend it on trash. Don't waste it on petty conflicts, careless comments, or the kind of nonsense that won't even cross your mind a week from now. So the next time anger rises in your chest, pause, breathe. Ask the question, will this matter in 5 days? Make that question your armor. Make it your habit. That's how you stop getting angry at stupid things. That's how you win back your control. That's how you lead. Step 5. Pause before you react. Here's the truth. Anger often isn't a choice, it's a reflex. 1 second you're calm, and the next you're snapping at your coworkers, slamming your fist on the steering wheel, or shutting down on your partner for saying the wrong thing at the wrong time. That's not strength. That's surrender. And deep down you know it. The problem isn't that you feel anger, you're human. The problem is that most men never install a gap between the trigger and the reaction. They fire off like faulty machines, letting their emotions run the show. But you can't afford that. Not if you want peace, not if you want respect, not if you want to lead. What you need is space, a fraction of a second between the moment your blood heats up and the moment you act. That space is where your power lives. It's not about suppressing your emotions. It's about owning them and then choosing how to respond. That's the mark of a strong man, not the loudest in the room, but the one who holds the line. Think of your mind like a loaded weapon. Every time someone presses your buttons, your hand moves toward the trigger. But discipline, the real version of you, doesn't fire. You hold, you breathe. You see the situation clearly, not through the fog of rage. That pause is not weakness, it's control. And control makes you dangerous in the best possible way. The average man lashes out, then apologizes, says things he doesn't mean, and damages relationships he didn't intend to harm, all because he never learned to pause. So here's your move next time. Something hits you sideways, a disrespectful comment, a stupid mistake, a delay that ruins your schedule. Stop. Count to 3. Clench your fist if you need to. Breathe through your nose. Keep your mouth shut. Then respond. Or choose not to respond at all. Either way you decide, not your anger. That pause is what separates boys from men. Boys react. Men calculate. Boys lose jobs, ruin dinners, and burn bridges. Men stay steady. The Stoics knew this well. They didn't train to be emotionless, they trained to be unshakable. They treated emotions as data, not commands, and so should you. Because there is nothing soft about pausing. In fact, it takes far more strength to hold back than to explode. Anyone can yell, but it takes discipline to stay composed when every nerve in your body is begging to lash out. And that moment, that pause, is what builds you. Every single time you choose it, you sharpen your edge. You reclaim your power. So here's the move. Install the pause. Make it your default setting. The next time you feel anger rising, don't move. Don't talk. Don't react. Own the moment. Train your reflexes to wait. And then, and only then, act with purpose. That's how you stop getting angry at stupid things. That's how you lead yourself. Step 6. Set boundaries to prevent frustration. Here's the truth. You're not angry because people are too much. You're angry because your boundaries are too vague. When you let anyone walk in and out of your emotional space unchecked, don't be surprised when someone trashes it. Think about it. Your time, your energy, your attention, how much of it is leaking away because you never made it clear where the line is? Too often we expect people to just know what's acceptable, but clarity isn't their job. It's ours. And when we fail to define our standards, we stop leading, we just react. Boundaries aren't walls to keep people out. They're filters to keep your sanity in. A man without boundaries is like a soldier without armor. He feels every blow, absorbs every hit, and eventually breaks. Look at your own life. You say yes to work you hate. You sit through conversations that drain you. You tolerate behavior that grinds you down. And then you wonder why you explode over the smallest thing. That explosion isn't random, it's the buildup of everything you allowed because you were too afraid of seeming rigid, selfish, or difficult. But let me tell you this. Being passive doesn't make you kind, it just makes you resentful. And nobody respects a man boiling beneath his smile. The Stoics knew this well. They didn't waste time trying to control others, they mastered themselves. Marcus Aurelius didn't live to please fools. Epictetus didn't beg for approval. They understood where they ended and the world began. That's power. And that power begins the moment you say, "This is what I accept. This is what I don't." No drama, no debate, just discipline. Bring it closer to home. That coworker who dumps last-minute tasks on you does it because you never said no. That friend who makes snide comments keeps doing it because you laugh it off. That client who calls at 10 p.m. gets through because you answer fearing the deal more than you value your peace. That's not strength, that's surrender. And every time you fold, you give away a piece of yourself. Setting boundaries isn't about being rude, it's about being real. You teach people how to treat you by what you tolerate. You don't need to argue, you don't need to yell, you just need to be firm. I don't take calls after 6. Don't talk to me that way. That's not my responsibility. Short, clear, final. Every line you draw is a line you defend, and every line you defend builds your emotional discipline. So stop blaming others for stepping over boundaries you never set. Don't expect foolish behavior to stop on its own. Expect yourself to stop tolerating it. Frustration fades the moment clarity rises. If something keeps making you angry, don't just vent, limit it. Resentment is a signal. Use it, track it, then build your rule. Because your sanity is built on your standards and your peace. That's not their job, it's yours. So draw the line and don't flinch. Step 7. Use humor as a pressure release valve. Because when you can laugh at stupidity, you've already won. Not because the situation changed, but because you did. Here's a truth most men overlook: anger shrinks when humor enters the room. Humor isn't about dodging the problem, it's about disarming it. The reality is, too many of us walk through life like ticking bombs. One dumb comment, one ridiculous email, one clueless driver, and boom, we detonate. But humor isn't weakness, it's weaponized emotional control. Let's be clear, you're not laughing because what happened was okay. You're laughing because you've decided your peace matters more than their nonsense. That is power. The Stoics knew this well. They never wasted their lives trying to change the circus, they simply refused to become clowns in it. Think about it, the modern man carries pressure everywhere, at work, at home, with family under the weight of constant expectation. You cannot afford to lose your mind over things that don't deserve it, and nothing cuts through tension faster than a grin, a quiet chuckle, or a shake of the head. Picture this: the last time someone said something so absurd it made your blood boil. Now imagine replaying it as if you were in the audience of a comedy show. Suddenly it looks ridiculous, even funny. That shift from actor to observer, from offended to amused, gives you the upper hand. You don't waste cortisol. You don't take the bait. You stay sharp, focused, sane. That's why high performers, firefighters, soldiers, doctors use humor under pressure. Not to escape reality, but to puncture tension, clear the fog, and stay human when chaos is everywhere. You don't even need to crack jokes out loud. The best humor is internal, a smirk, a silent "You've got to be kidding me," or a quiet mental eye roll. That's not indifference, that's mastery. But here's the key: don't confuse it with sarcasm or passive-aggressive jabs. That's just emotional leakage disguised as wit. What we're talking about here is clean, strategic detachment, a shift in posture. You're not triggered, you're trained. You don't give your energy to idiocy. You nod, you breathe, maybe even chuckle, and then you move forward. That's how warriors operate. They don't stop to fight every pebble in the path, they step over it and keep walking. In a world wired for outrage, restraint is rare. But humor gives you the edge. It reminds you not every battle is yours to fight. Not every fool deserves your response. Sometimes the strongest move is simply to laugh, shake your head, and get back to your mission. That's control. That's emotional strength. So the next time life throws you a "you've got to be kidding me" moment, don't explode. Smile, because you're not here to entertain their chaos. You're here to master your own calm. Step 8. Respond like the person you want to become, because every reaction you choose either builds or destroys the man you're becoming. That split second when someone says something stupid, acts out of ego, or tries to pull you down, you face a choice: feed the fire or forge your control. Most men don't realize just how easily they give away their power. Here's the tough truth. Most of us don't hand over our power to kings, we hand it to clowns. One rude coworker, one reckless driver, one loudmouth at dinner, and suddenly they've got you on puppet strings, yanking your emotions out of control. That's not strength. That's submission disguised as outrage. Society tells men that being real means responding fast, hitting back harder, and never backing down. But the reality is this: the strongest man in the room isn't the one who reacts, he's the one who chooses his response. He doesn't lose control just because someone else did. That's the Stoic shift: stop letting the outside world dictate your inner state. Think about it like training. You don't hit the gym once and expect to stay strong forever. Emotional discipline works the same way. It's reps, it's habits, it's daily choices. Every time you take the bait, every time you snap, explode, or lose it, you're rehearsing weakness, but flip it. Imagine every time you're provoked, you pause, you own the silence, you look at the nonsense not with anger but with distance. That's not indifference, that's dominance. It's like stepping out of the storm while everyone else is soaked in chaos. You become the man who isn't triggered, who doesn't waste time explaining himself, who stays grounded while the world spins in drama. And here's the key: it's not about being passive, it's about being strategic. Anger can be righteous, but blind rage, that's just noise. Every reaction either builds or burns the identity you're shaping, so instead of exploding, you compress, you hold the line. You ask, is this worth my energy? Is this aligned with the man I'm becoming? And each time you choose purpose over emotion, that inner voice, that command center, grows louder. In the real world, this shows up everywhere. In meetings, on the freeway, at home, with your family, you either escalate or you anchor. You either match stupidity or you outgrow it. Picture this: a father walks into chaos, kids yelling, partner stressed, phone buzzing. The old version of him, frustrated, loud, reactive. The new version, steady, calm, grounded. Because he's no longer reacting from ego, he's leading with identity. That's the difference. You're not just managing moments, you're embodying mastery. The most powerful version of you isn't loud. He's quiet, focused, emotionally untouchable. And it all starts with one choice: respond like the man you want to be remembered as, not the man who cracked under pressure. So the next time something small pokes at your nerves, don't flinch, don't feed it. Hold the frame. Ask yourself, who am I training to become? And can I act like he's already in the room? Because every surge of anger is not punishment, it's training. Life isn't trying to break you, it's trying to sharpen you. And here's the truth: you won't stop getting angry overnight. But just like muscle, you can train your reactions. You can choose stillness over sparks, clarity over chaos. Real peace isn't about avoiding tension, it's about meeting it with control. So remember this: the way you respond defines the man you become. You're not just managing emotions, you're building character. Emotional self-control is not weakness, it is strength in its truest form. And that strength is earned through small, consistent actions, daily awareness, clear intention, and thoughtful response. Use what we've covered today as your training ground. Track your triggers, breathe before you speak, and ask yourself, does this reaction match the identity I want to live? That's the path. That's the real power. And if this message spoke to you, carry it into your week. Practice it, refine it, own it. And if you've had moments where anger got the best of you, or moments where you chose calm instead, share your story in the comments. Your growth might be the spark someone else needs.